On July 23rd, South Korea announced the apprehension of 3 Chinese students for illegally filming a U.S. aircraft carrier with a drone. The incident took place last month when the aircraft carrier entered the port of Busan. According to Yonhap, the South Korean news agency, the Busan National Police Agency reported that the students, aged between 30 and 40, are under investigation for violating the Military Bases and Military Facilities Protection Act. The students are accused of using a drone to capture footage of the 100,000-ton USS Theodore Roosevelt, which was docked near the Busan Operational Base of the Naval Operations Command in Yongho-dong, Namgu, Busan, on June 25th. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how China is managing to survey vital American assets. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted VPN brands worldwide that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte, an industry-leading Big Four auditing firm. NordVPN provides an encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy by preventing external entry to your internet traffic, as well as enabling you to access content that's blocked based on geolocation. Best of all, with one NordVPN account, you can secure up to 6 devices at the same time. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive savings by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The USS Theodore Roosevelt had arrived in South Korea for joint military exercises involving South Korea, the United States, and Japan. Clear footage of the supercarrier seems to have been captured. The drone hovered over the aircraft carrier for approximately 5 minutes before being detected by soldiers on patrol. On the day of the incident, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol visited the carrier to inspect it and meet with South Korean and U.S. service members. The detained students, who are international students studying in South Korea, claimed their actions were driven by curiosity about the large aircraft carrier. Authorities have found no evidence suggesting that the footage was distributed, but continue to investigate the students' motives for filming. This incident highlights a growing trend of Chinese nationals capturing sensitive defense assets of the United States and its allies. In July, Shi Feng-yun, a 26-year-old graduate student from the University of Minnesota, pleaded guilty to misdemeanor espionage charges for photographing U.S. military infrastructure with a drone. Prosecutors stated that Shi flew a drone near the Newport News shipyard in Virginia on January 6th, capturing images of U.S. naval vessels equipped with classified systems still in its design process. She admitted to 2 of 6 counts of violations under the Espionage Act, which prohibits photographing military installations and using unregistered drones in national defense airspace. The court has ordered an investigation into Shi's circumstances, with sentencing expected in late August or September. In April and May this year, reports surfaced of a Chinese drone allegedly capturing images and videos of the USS Ronald Reagan at Japan's Yokosuka Naval Base. These visuals, which circulated on social media platforms such as X, formerly Twitter, sparked fears of espionage against U.S. military operations. While a U.S. Navy investigation did not find conclusive evidence of drone activity over the Ronald Reagan, the authenticity of the images remains in question. In April, photos and videos emerged showing Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force facilities in Yokosuka, including a video of the helicopter destroyer JS Izumo docked at the base. On May 9, 2024, the Japanese Ministry of Defense verified the authenticity of a video purportedly taken by a Chinese drone flying over the JS Izumo, noting no abnormalities in the footage. This phenomenon is not a very recent one. In December 2020, a Chinese man in the United States was caught snapping photos of the Naval Air Station in Key West, Florida. According to the complaint affidavit, Lau agreed to waive his Miranda rights and told the agent with the Naval Criminal Investigation Service in broken English that he was trying to take photographs of the sunrise. But his lie was caught immediately when he provided the passcode to his cell phone and allowed the agent to look at the images. The agent observed photographs of Truman Annex on the camera. The Chinese government has encouraged its student fraternity to get educated in the U.S. and mingle into the system. The Center for Immigration Studies called foreign student visas a weak point in national security and pointed a finger at China as a key abuser of the system, a claim made by several other immigration and national security groups. It said that the explosion of student visas to STEM schools takes positions that U.S. students can use and put potential spies inside institutions that have key national security ties to the U.S. government. In its 2019 report, it stated that an unknown number of them also engage in activities hostile to our country and communities. These activities range from participation in terrorism to espionage. Some of them are sleepers put into place to be activated either by order of their masters or upon some specific triggering event. While the percentage and number of such individuals is undoubtedly small, it takes only a few aliens intent on serious harm to the United States to create a national tragedy. The center suggested that the administration put new limits on student and exchange visas and punish colleges and universities with high numbers of foreign students who overstay their visas. The report said that nearly 70,000 foreign students overstayed their visas in 2017. Chinese students were first with 18,075. China's been trying hard to gain a military advantage over the U.S. and its allies by any means possible. In 2022, it was discovered that China tried to recruit British pilots. A spokesperson for the UK's Ministry of Defense, MOD, who spoke to the New York Times under the customary condition that he not be named, told the New York Times that China has offered lucrative contracts to draw in Britain's former military pilots, with salaries of about $270,000 a year. The British official said the Chinese recruiting effort has been ongoing since even before the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, but said their efforts have ramped up in recent months. Over the years, China has persistently targeted the U.S. with sophisticated cyber attacks. China obtained more than 50 terabytes of data from U.S. defense and government networks, notably the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter's stealth, radar, and engine secrets through cyber espionage. The NSA estimated that the Chinese had conducted more than 30,000 cyber attacks as part of the massive defense industrial espionage, and that more than 500 attacks were significant intrusions into the Department of Defense, or DoD, systems. More than 1,600 network computers were penetrated, and at least 600,000 user accounts were compromised by Chinese cyberspying. In all, the NSA concluded that the Chinese compromised key components of the F-35. The USS Theodore Roosevelt incident serves as a reminder of the vulnerabilities facing military assets in the age of mobile phones, with high-end cameras and relatively cheap but capable drones that have good optics and flight altitudes. Experts advocate installing barriers and jammers to address this issue.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.